Today, we're diving deep into the architecture that powers Kubernetes. So Kubernetes can control hundreds, maybe even thousands of machines all at once. But how? How does one system actually manage an entire cluster like that? What's the secret? In our last explainer, we covered how Kubernetes is this amazing system for managing containerized apps across a whole bunch of machines. But that left us with a pretty big question. What is the actual architecture that makes all of this possible? Let's pull back the curtain and see how it works. It all starts with something called a cluster. And a Kubernetes cluster is really just a set of machines, we call them nodes, that are all working together to run your applications. But here's the key thing you need to know. Not all of these machines have the same job. You can basically split them into two roles. You've got the brain, which makes all the decisions, and you've got the muscle, which does all the heavy lifting. Let's talk about the brain first. In Kubernetes, this is called the control plane. The control plane is the command center. It makes all the big, system-wide decisions for the cluster. It's constantly watching everything, and when it sees something happen, it responds. It's basically the central nervous system for the whole operation. So what does this brain actually do? Well, its main jobs are, 1, deciding where your applications should run. We call that scheduling. 2, it's constantly monitoring the cluster's health. And 3, it's making sure everything matches the exact setup you asked for. Okay, that makes sense. But if the control plane is just the brain making decisions, then who's actually running the applications? And that brings us to the muscle of the cluster, the worker nodes. Worker nodes are the individual machines that actually run your stuff. They are the workhorses here. They get their orders from the control plane, and they get the job done. And here's how they do it. Each worker node runs your applications inside these little units called pods. For now, just think of a pod as a little bubble that holds one or more of your application containers. Now, this separation of the brain and the muscle, it allows for something really, really cool. It means Kubernetes is a self-healing system. And this is where it gets amazing. Just imagine one of your worker nodes fails. It just goes offline. The control plane, which is always watching, sees this happen instantly. And then, like magic, it automatically moves the applications that were on that failed node onto a new healthy one. You don't have to lift a finger. Your application just keeps on running. So what's happening here is this constant conversation, this continuous feedback loop. The control plane is always watching the state being reported by the worker nodes. The moment it sees a change, like a node failing, it reacts. This is what keeps the whole system so stable and resilient. And this entire feedback loop, it serves one fundamental principle. And this right here is the core idea behind how all of Kubernetes works. It's called desired state. It sounds a little complex, but it's actually a really simple and powerful idea. You tell Kubernetes what you want, your desired state. For example, I want 3 copies of my application running at all times. Kubernetes then looks at the current state, what's actually happening right now. Maybe a node failed, and so only 2 copies are running. Well, Kubernetes' entire job is to close that gap and make the current state match your desired state. And hey, don't just take it from me. The official documentation puts it perfectly. It says that these things called controllers are just control loops that watch the state of your cluster. Each controller tries to move the current cluster state closer to the desired state. So it's not a one-time command. It's a continuous promise. All right, so let's do a super quick recap. You've got the control plane, that's the brain, managing the whole show. You've got the worker nodes, that's the muscle running the apps. And you've got pods, which are like the little homes where your containers live. So we get the big picture of what the control plane does, but what's actually inside of it? What are the little components that make up the brain? And when we say it schedules a pod, how does it really decide which of the hundreds of possible nodes is the right one? And maybe most importantly, what exactly is a pod? We know it holds containers, but what does that really mean? Well, we are going to answer all of those questions in the next explainer.